Hello and welcome back to Tab Tuesday, where I share one tab I have open that is helping families know better, do better, and feel better. And we are in the middle of a series on communication, both for having respectful conversations and for connecting. I'm Angie Ellsworth with Time Out Behavior Coaching in Rochester, Minnesota. And last time we talked about the THINK acronym, where when we're having conversations or when we're saying things to others, we want to use that acronym to think about, are things that we're saying true, helpful, inspiring, necessary, and kind. If you missed that one, look back in our feed and see if you can find communication number 1. And today we're talking about how to move forward with having conversations and sharing our feedback, sharing about how we feel about something. And most people are pretty aware of using an I statement, and it basically sounds like I feel blank when you blank and I want you to blank, or I want this to change. I hesitate when I teach kids and families about the I statement because there's just some tweaks that I like to do instead. I certainly remembered this more from when I was working with kids, is that whenever we teach someone to use an I statement, they say, I feel, mad when you, and the blame goes on someone else about what they're doing and how it's making me feel. I like to teach people that we can control our own feelings and reactions to what our environment and what people in our environment are doing to us. So I'm not a huge fan of teaching I feel when you, okay? What I am a huge fan of is stating I feel, okay, and stating how you feel about. Okay, I feel frustrated about us arguing all the time. I feel frustrated about how dirty the house is. I feel frustrated about how things are so tough in our house and why I need to give so many reminders. I feel disappointed about not spending time with you. When I can use the word about, I'm stating the situation and describing the situation, and I want to really try to be neutral about it. I don't want to blame someone for it because everything we know about communication says that it's 50-50. It needs to be give and take through both parties. We have to come at it from an equal playing field. If I have more power and more blame and more shame and more demands on someone, they're not going to respond to me in a positive or conscientious way because they're going to be too nervous or worried or frustrated, or just they're going to give up on it and shut down. So the next step in that is using I feel about a situation and then saying what you need so things can be improved. And it doesn't mean I need you to. I need you. You don't turn it on to them again. Again, we try to refrain from telling other people what to do, but what do I need? I feel upset and I feel disappointed when we don't spend so much time together. There's not enough time together, and I need to feel more connected to you. I want to put our our connection, our relationship as a priority. Now that approach, right, thinking about what I need, how I feel, and the situation opens up the opportunity for people to have a conflict, for people to use this approach to reduce conflict and arguing. It helps build empathy, it helps build understanding, and we really want families to understand that this is not easy to do. This is hard to do because we don't often think about it. So I want to give you a few examples that I got from Psychology Today that gives you a comparison of how this works, okay? If I use something called a harsh startup, where I'm blaming someone, I'm attacking them, I'm saying you, don't, then that really turns somebody off immediately and it breaks down the relationship, okay? So Positive Psychology talks about softened startups. So here's some examples. A harsh startup: you are impossible to deal with. Softened startup: I feel frustrated about how this conversation is going. It would be great to sit down and talk about the issue together. Which one would you respond better to? Right? A harsh startup. You never want to talk about your day. You never share anything with me. Another one. Soft startup. I feel upset when we don't connect after work, and I need to spend some quality time together this week. Can you see the difference, especially between your relationship with your spouse or with your parenting partner? How these could be effective. Now, how about a couple with your children? Here's a harsh startup. The trouble with you is you are selfish, you always think about yourself, and you never do anything to help out the family. Now here's a soft startup. I feel it quite upsetting when I don't get to do things I enjoy, and instead I'm always trying to make up for things around the house. I'd love for us to do something together when the chores are done. How does that sound? Now imagine if you come at this with love, with curiosity, with an aim for finding a solution instead of for blaming or shaming someone into how they're feeling. Here's another example. Harsh startup. You are so irresponsible. And then, I'm worried about the choices you're making. And I would love to talk to you about it so I know you're feeling safe and you're making good choices. Quite the difference in what the outcome could be when you start to have those conversations. I'm going to put a link to this document into the chat below. Talks about harsh startups versus soft startups and using an iMessage appropriately to further that communication with your family. And there you have it. Something new to help you and your family know better, do better, and feel better about communicating and connecting. And we'll continue this series as we go.